Hi, everybody, and welcome to part two of Evernote for Educators with Jeremy Insco. Tonight, if you're following the EdTech Mentorship podcast live on the Google Hangout page, you can actually put a question and answer. We can answer the questions live on the podcast if you're watching there. If you tune into the event page later, those questions will be listed there for you, and you can follow along with those. If you'd like to connect with us on Twitter, you can do that at the hashtag ETMN, or you can always connect with us on our Google Plus community at EdTech Mentorship Network. So welcome, Jeremy. Last day we kind of went over just the basics of how to use Evernote, some of the buttons, what you can press, some of the options, things you can do. And today we're going to dive a little bit deeper. What are we going to dive deeper into?
Well, I mentioned it last day, I guess it was Monday, that one of the most powerful uses in school, I think, for Evernote would be really to get students creating a digital portfolio. So let's take a look at how we'd set that up. I also think that there's lots of personal professional use, but I think from what we talked about, we can probably on Monday we can probably figure out what are some of the uses, and just playing around will make that more apparent, which would also be good use for students as well. But I want to show how to set up as a teacher how to one way I feel it'd be a good way to use Evernote for student portfolios. And then we'll take a look also at the iPad version. I realized I didn't show that. I mentioned it but didn't show it. The iPad and iPhone version, they're very similar, but they're a little bit different than the desktop version that I showed. We'll take a look at some of the other apps that integrate into it, like Penultimate and Sketch. So Penultimate being a handwriting notebook, literally, for a tablet, and Sketch being annotating images. So those work well and integrate quite naturally. So we'll take a look at those, and I think I've got one or two more kind of outside things that connect well to Evernote and are just generally useful. So I thought I'd do that.
Cool. So, well, we'll see how much we can get to today. Our podcast runs typically about anywhere from half an hour to 40 minutes long. So stay with us. And if you have any more questions about anything on the app that we don't cover today, you can always send us a tweet. And our Twitter handles are just listed below on the YouTube link there. So.
All right. So let me fire up the screen share. Again, a note that while we're doing podcast and screen shares and multiple tabs and windows open, it might not be the fastest thing in the world.
But it's super helpful for people who are just beginning to use things. So we always I'm a visual person. I like the visual. If we're just listening to it, it's a little bit harder to follow.
Absolutely. So I also got some feedback from last time that maybe I moved a little bit too fast. There might have been some delay and lag, so I will try to slow down a little bit. Do we see my screen now?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so we're back to the main homepage, I guess, for Evernote, and I wanted to start off by right off the bat creating a new notebook. So I can do that, and I click that button up at the top there, and it says New Note in Penultimate. I really didn't want to do that. I'll go back to Notebooks. I want a new notebook first, so I'm going to rename that notebook. Let's just start with calling it a student notebook. So this could be John Doe, All-Star Student. So there it goes. Everything reshuffles around because it's listed in alphabetical order. You can change that. Top right-hand corner here, there's some changes in the way you view things, but that's there. So next thing is to, if you think about this, setting up a folder for a student is a place they can, literally a digital portfolio in the most direct sense, and transfer from paper to digital. So there's that notebook there, and we can in that set up notes. Right now it doesn't have any. What I wanted to do with that as well is set up some tags. So if we go back over to the tags menu on the left, click that, I can create a tag. And one of the tags that I wanted to create would be, just where am I at here? Maybe this class, I can create one for a class for your high school teacher. Maybe you're putting in block A or first period. Maybe maybe I want to have, as I'm an elementary school teacher, at least currently, social studies. So social studies is created. Oh, it looks like I've already got the tag social studies. So all my notes, when I type that in, come up. I've got the social studies tag already created. That's great. It's there. I can go and use that. So we've got that basic setup. The folder's there. One thing I want to go back to, where's my notebook? In John Doe, if I open that notebook and create a note, it's there. We've done this before. Call this the first note. And oh, what happened here? So there's a note. There's a notebook. What we can do is we can share top right-hand corner. I mentioned this as before, and you can do this for the notes or notebooks. So there's where it becomes pretty powerful. I can share with the student, John Doe, and I can share that with the student's parents as well, or anybody else, quite literally. They'll have access. If we do that, they'll have access through Evernote to edit on their desktop, on their iPad, on their Android device, on their iOS device. It's all there, so they can edit from different places. If we don't want parents, for example, to be able to edit and mess things up, some kids aren't going to trust their non-digital parents, what we might do is share it in a different way. So I wanted to show that as well. If I click this share, I showed last time share with individuals. What I didn't show was create a public link. Right there, you get this long URL, which is great. It's pretty straightforward. You can also edit that. So right now it's called John Doe. That's simple. We can change the name of that. But what that does is just creates that long link. Might be too long if we're sharing that or putting that out in Twitter or putting that out in other ways. We might want to shorten that. So there's one thing I wanted to talk about. I wanted to add in.
Sure. Just before you keep going, is it a pop-up window over top of the Evernote app?
Yes.
Because we are not seeing the pop-up.
Oh, we're not seeing that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so to describe what I see there is it says HTTPS, so it's a secure server, www.evernote.com/pub/JeremyInsco/John Doe. So it's a long link. You can change that last /John Doe to being something more customizable by clicking a button and changing that. But the whole idea here is that it's a long link, so I wanted to change that and show you another way. Oops, I need that link. So while you can't see that, I'm just going to copy the link.
So basically, with the screen share option in Google Hangouts, we have an option to see certain windows on Jeremy's desktop. So he has chosen for us only to see the Evernote application instead of seeing his entire desktop. But in some of our previous Hangouts, you would have seen our entire desktops when we've chosen that option. So just because he's done that, that's why that little pop-up window is not coming up. So just for people watching.
Yeah, the intent of that was to make it so it would be a little faster. So if I go out of that screen share, switch apps here, I see me in the bottom corner again, so that means I guess the screen share is back to me.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go to Chrome.
The joys of presenting online.
But it's interactive. If we were doing a slide share, then that would be much slower. Okay, so so Chrome users, this is awesome. If you're not a Chrome user, you should be.
Yes.
Pardon my bias.
Life is easy when you use Chrome.
So you see a lot of the extensions, or sorry, the apps that I've got in Chrome there, in my launch page, and you see I use Google Drive, Digo, Evernote. Those are three of my top tools that I use. If the very first thing here is the Chrome store, you can also search for the Chrome store, but if I just click on the link, it takes me there. What I want to show you is the Google URL shortener.
This is my favorite. ShortcutMe? Are you using ShortcutMe?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then I might have to show something too. Oh, goodness.
Okay. It's called the Google URL shortener. So if I just go and search here in, okay, a little bit of lag, I want the goo.gl URL shortener. Do that. Pops up with a number of URL shorteners. Oh, and it's coming up with the extension. And so the very first one on this list is the one I've got, use, love. And Victoria, I think this is similar to the one you've shown me, so I think it might be the same one with a different name, but same idea. So it's there. If you click on this and you don't have it installed, it will pop it up as an extension. So up top beside my URL, up on the right, I've got bit.ly, which does the same thing, not as well, but it also has some different functionality. And then right beside that is the Google URL shortener. So I want to show that if I create a new tab and paste in the link to that note, eventually that shared note comes up as a web page. Maybe.
One day it'll come up. Remember, everything's running slowly when it's all of us talking, so.
I don't want to join, I want to view. So you see, it looks similar to Evernote, and you got some of the display there looks similar, but in a very basic sense of Evernote. So you see the notes there, and this is a way that parents can access the digital portfolio without having the ability to mess anything up, or to make it a public share for literally to the public that you don't want people to be able to edit. So it's there. But if you look at that URL, it is nasty at the top. It's just huge. So what I can do with that URL shortener I just pushed there, if I click on that, it has a drop-down menu. It says it's shortening it, and you see it shortened it to goo.gl/xfnfkv. And I can go down to copy that, get some of the details on that, or create a QR code. So if I just click copy, now when I right-click and paste, or Control-V, or Command-V, whatever you're using on whatever device, it's going to give a very short URL. So I can tweet that out, send that out. It's much shorter, much cleaner, and easier to use. So there's something I use all the time, and it's a tool I just couldn't not share tonight.
That's awesome. And these URL shorteners are super, super helpful for all kinds of projects, and I'm actually getting the kids who are using Chrome as their primary browser, I'm getting them to install these extensions too. Maybe I'll quickly screen share too, and I'll show you mine.
Okay. Before I go back, let me show the bit.ly, just because one of the functionalities of bit.ly that is useful. I'm going to copy that link. Bit.ly is works both as a web page and as an extension, and it's going to open up a new extension here, or a new web page here for me. Again, slowly.
Yeah, bit.ly is pretty awesome for the customizability of links.
I can't remember if I set this up with Facebook or Twitter. I use it less. That's me. Allow.
Yeah, a lot of these extensions will require you to authorize before you put them on your Chrome browser.
Okay. So I'm there. You know what? It's probably just going to be easier if I go to bit.ly.com. This works too. It's free. What the extension does, it keeps track of the analytics and sees how many times people click on the link and use it. And so, I mean, if you're more into marketing, that's great. If you're not, it really doesn't matter. So what I can do here is paste a long URL to shorten to the top, quite literally. And if I paste it, I get this pop-up. Can you see the pop-up?
Nope. Oh, wait. Yes, we can.
Good. Yay. Okay, so we end up creating a website called that's just bit.ly/ and then some random characters, but it's short. You can also customize that. Here's the awesome one, to change it to be bit.ly/ John Doe. So now it's named appropriately, and something easy to remember and short as well. The problem with that being the whole world can use this, so you're going to need to pick things that are not too generic. or you won't be able to use it because it's already taken. I've run into that a couple of times.
And it's case sensitive, so remember that when you, like, I use it all the time when I present. So instead of just doing a Google one, the go.gl, I always use bit.ly because then I can customize the link. It makes it way easier for people to type in because all these ones are case sensitive, and you got to watch for the ones and the L's and the O's and the zeros and all of that good stuff when you do the stuff links. One of my friends actually had, she had put up one of the go.gls at one of her sessions, and it had a 0 or a 1 or something, and she had written it or had it on her page, not hyperlinked, and it took her people to an inappropriate site at her very first ever presentation.
Horrifying, so, and maybe her last.
Yeah, totally. Well, no, it wasn't. But she said, you know, you learn that lesson the hard way, so that was good advice.
When I'm presenting, it's often to the school district, so I'll put in my school district number, so SD68, and then the name of the session or something that way that's not going to be too generic, but simple enough to follow.
Yeah, I usually customize it as well to the event that I'm at. The one that I'll just really quickly share mine while Jeremy gets his next stuff ready. Yeah, so the one that I'm just going to start my screen share. Jared, can you just let me know when you see it?
Will do.
So the one that I'm going to share is, got it? Okay, the one that I'm going to share is called ShortcutMe. It's one word, ShortcutMe URL shortener. And so let's just say I'm at the Google Plus. I'm going to make this full screen. I'm at the Google Plus event page, and this is quite a long link, and I typically do share it on Twitter because Twitter has a built-in shortener inside of it, so even if you share these full links, it'll shorten it so that you can save character space. But this one is a click of a button, and what it does is it just clicks it, and you can see here that there are, it gives you the link, it automatically copies it, so all I have to do is paste, and it also generates a QR code for you. So I'm just going to make this page a little bit smaller. So once I click this, I can actually just drag that QR code onto documents, onto all kinds of places, and that's really handy for when I present as well. And that's cool for kids too if they're sharing a quick little link, or maybe they want to paste a QR code onto a note to link to something else, or they want to print it out or whatever. It's just a super quick and easy way to share some links.
So your click stream is much faster on that one than the one I shared. It does all the same things.
Yeah, but those are three options, right? It depends on what your preference is. Some people don't like things to automatically copy. Some people do. So just kind of depends on your preferences.
Yeah, great. Okay, where were we? We were sharing. Okay, we've created a notebook. We've created a note. What I wanted to do is say, how do we get things into there? If students, if it isn't shared with students, or you want them to submit assignments even, it could be done that way, that they're not sharing and working on. It could be, if you do, let me think what I was going to say here. If you want students to submit an assignment and not be able to re-edit it, one way you might set it up is through an email. They'd email it in, because otherwise it would be, once you've shared that folder, you'll see everything they see. But I wanted to show you the power of sending an email into Evernote. So let me go back to my screen share. I'll have to go in and out here a couple of times. Where's my screen share menu? There we go. So if you remember, last time we talked about the personalized email address you can get. And so mine's Jeremy Insco dot some random letters. Actually, you'll see it here in just a moment. .m.evernote.com. In the paid version of Evernote, I've rediscovered, you can change that. You can personalize that address. So you can get rid of that. I've got 41 D2B is my personal address.
It's kind of a mess, hey?
It is. So, yeah, we need an address shortener. But you get that. You can personalize that if you pay the $5 a month or $45 a year.
Right.
Otherwise, it doesn't really matter. It's not something I'm going to remember. It's something I've got in my address book, and something I would send to my students to put in their address book as well to email me.
Okay, so
Uh,
the reason for the Evernote email is what? Like what functionality does it serve differently than your email? Is this kind of like your shared with me username of sorts or?
a little bit. So what I can do with this is I can email anything into an Evernote note. So if
Mm-hmm.
you want to save your email, you can just email it into an Evernote folder. And there's a bit of a syntax for that. So if you see what's going on here in the subject line, I'm assuming you can see in my email that I've
Yes.
drafted. Okay, so in the subject line, it says first assignment. That is going to be the title of the new note that this is going to create. So I'm going to create a new note called first assignment in the John Doe folder. That's what the @ symbol does there. I've the exclamation mark 2014 16 13 should be 06, not 16. So glad I caught that. We'll set a reminder. We talked about reminders last time, and so this fires a reminder, attaches a reminder to that email, and I'm also going to tag it social studies. And that's why I created that tag ahead of time, and the folder. So you can email into a folder that's already created and use hashtags that are already created. So I'm going to, by sending this email, hey Mr. Insco, found some really good resources but need a little extra time to sort through them. I've set a reminder for Friday and we'll add the details by then. Thanks, your alter ego. Once I click send on that, the screen share is probably gone. The email disappeared. Let me change the screen share back to Evernote and see where that went.
It'd be really cool if there was just like a way to really hastily switch between the different windows, but
There's
really
not.
only if you do the desktop share and then you're like you can see everything.
Yeah, that would have been smarter this time. Okay,
That's okay.
so my email client saying there's an error sending an email, but I think it went now. I'm not sure of the time delay, so hopefully.
It's looking good over here. I see Evernote now.
Okay,
So
but the time delay of the email going
oh
into
right, right.
Evernote.
Yeah.
So that would be something smart to test ahead of time, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what I can do, actually it was already there. So in notebooks, I go to John Doe. We see that little tag at the top. That means it's a shared folder now. I've created a public link to share that publicly. That also shows up if you share it literally with one person with an email.
Sorry, can you repeat that? I'm wrapping my head around that.
Oh, okay. So I go back to notebooks. There's two ways to share a folder or a note. We can share it publicly with that creating web page version of it,
Right.
or we can share it literally by sending an email address and connecting with another Evernote account.
Okay. Yeah.
So either way, you get the little icon on the notebook or note saying that it's a shared document.
Which is good to have because then sometimes if you
You remember that it is shared, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Visual.
Okay, so we go back to into the John Doe folder, and there's just that first note there. There's nothing else. What I can do here is the little circle there is to synchronize. I will do that. Click that button, sync it, see if it grabs that email. If not, there's just a time delay. Okay. No problem. The end result is creating a note with the text of the note, or from the text of the body of the email in the note, creating a title from the subject line, and again use the first thing you type is a title, then you put an @ sign for the notebook you want to send it to. If you want to put a reminder, the exclamation mark with the year, month, date format. You can also alternately put exclamation mark tomorrow, and that will just set up the reminder for tomorrow. I'm not sure what time that comes in. And then the hashtag will create will tag it with the tag that you have to have pre-created. You can also use a plus sign, and that puts the note in the most recent note with the same title. So you can add, again, if you think about the portfolio, you can build onto something. So in that case, I said that I was going to add something by Friday. I can reuse that first assignment title, or put plus first assignment, and then it will just append to the bottom of that email or that note in Evernote. So you can build on notes via email as well.
Okay, interesting. Seems like there's a lot of loaded features there. Like you're layering a lot of what we've talked about already, like the tagging and the sharing and adding notes to a notebook via email. And there's just all these layers of kind of complexity of things we've already discussed, but putting them together, right?
Yeah. Did I mention merging notes last time too?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, either way, I think I did, because I made 2 lists and then I combined them together. Did I not? Last time, created two lists. Oh, and the idea was you can also merge lists. So if you got this things to do and more things to do, you should be able to drag them onto each other. Oh, maybe it's not working for me.
I get you. Like you're merging your to-do list. So essentially, if you've made one yesterday and you made one today, and let's say I didn't get through what I was supposed to do yesterday, then I could just go and pull them together.
Grab those 2 notes, connect them, and then become one list. Or you could just, again, build on an assignment, build on a project, whatever.
Right, kind of appending like a previous document of sorts.
Absolutely.
Cool. So we have like 10 minutes left. I don't know if you want to continue on with this stuff, or if we want to do like brief little slams on the other apps that you talked about.
I did want to do that briefly. That's kind of the idea of creating a student portfolio. If I undo my screen share, what I did want to do is show the iPad version of the app, because it's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
And I will get that going and mirror that. And to do that, I use the Reflector app, so one more app that is super useful.
Yeah, if you don't have the Reflector app and you do a lot of sharing with AirPlay, a lot of the places that you end up going, they might not have an Apple TV or the type of software that allows you to do that. So having a Reflector on your computer is super helpful. Basically what the app does is it allows you to what's called mirroring your iPad or your phone for that matter onto your device that's plugged into a projector. So you can walk around wirelessly with your iPad or your mobile device, and then you can just show processes and workflows right on the screen of your computer that's plugged into the projector. Super helpful. I think it's $15 for the whole thing.
Yeah, it's one of the more expensive ones, but absolutely useful if you do a lot of things on an iPad, and for whatever reason it's not working for me now. I think I have too many windows open.
Yeah, and this is a tough one. Like, again, presenting this kind of stuff online is really difficult. I did a little bit of it when we did the Erasma, the augmented reality podcast, but that was a tough one to present, because doing all these workflows on Reflector is really difficult.
Yeah.
It's a lot of extra apps, a lot of bandwidth.
So it says I'm sharing it on my Mac. I'm all running, and it's not popping up. So that's not working so well. Okay.
Oh, that's okay.
Scrap that idea. We can talk about it anyways. So the biggest difference, the colors are nicer, if you care. One of the other things it has, let me have it open in front of me just to make sure. There's the option to create a quick note, and by doing that you can just press one button to create a text note. You can take a picture, grab something from your photos. You can set a reminder, create a list. There's a button for each of those to do it a lot faster, and then you can access all your notes and edit them in the same way as you would on the desktop. But The idea being that chances are if you're taking a note with your phone, it's going to be a voice note or a to-do list or a photo or set a reminder, so you can do that all in one click, and it's much faster.
Let me just see here. My AirPlay is working, but I haven't used Evernote in ages, and I just have it on my phone. Okay. It's probably going to be like syncing for 100 years if I try to screen share it. But would that be helpful if people saw it?
It would, because the mobile version, it's got a very clear mobile version. It's not just a smaller version.
Okay.
The iPad version is a little bit of a smaller version with those extra buttons. The mobile version is clearly set up as mobile. Hello.
Okay, there's my phone, everybody. Nobody text me right now.
There we go.
Okay, so
So
yeah.
you see those quick note buttons at the top.
Right, so if I just click text, it's just going to create.
You're gonna create a text note. Yeah.
Right, and then there's your quick note. Right, okay, cool. Cancel. So then what if I do? So if I do a reminder list, like why don't I use this more? All right, so
right? There's a million apps, but you know, you have something that generally works for you.
Right, and then yeah, this is a really nice setup though, because you just open the app and boom, go. Right, there's not very much like time. And then can you search your tags? Let's see. Tech came up. Look at that.
Every note that has tech is there now.
Wow.
You can grab the one you want.
So then all that search is still there. Cool.
Yeah.
And it syncs automatically with all of your other devices. Who knew?
Yes. One of the drawbacks of Evernote is the syncing. It is a little bit slow. It's not the same as Google Drive, that it's happening now.
Right.
As we sort of saw with the email. I don't know when that's going to show up, but obviously it's not instantly, which would be nicer, but it still works. Right? Unless you've got multiple people editing the same notebook at the same time, probably not going to be a problem. But if you're submitting an assignment, sharing a document, creating a web page version of it, it's there and it's workable. The other, Evernote has about 6 apps that sync with it. The first 2 that are most useful would probably be Penultimate. Penultimate is quite a detailed note pad. As I mentioned last time, Evernote has their own version of a stylus that has a super fine point. That's a big problem with writing on iPads and creating digital notes. You have to have kind of a pen tip that's a 1/4 inch or bigger. So getting detailed notes is difficult. Evernote has created for I think $75. So I mean, you probably are investing in something you're going to use. In their stylus, it's got a very fine point, very natural feel to it. So it's worth it if that's something you're doing. But you can create handwritten notes and to some extent do some drawing as well. And so in Penultimate, you can again write notes, draw, sketch in a digital style. And then automatically, we might have noticed, I'm not going to do the screen share and go back, but you automatically have those folders in, sorry, they're not folders, they're notebooks.
Notebooks.
They're same idea. The notebooks are automatically in Evernote. Same thing for Sketch. We showed annotating images with Sketch, or sorry, we showed annotating images in Evernote. But if you've got images, you're taking a photo, you're maybe taking a photo of a document with your iPad or with your phone, you can actually edit it with Sketch, and again, it's automatically synced to Evernote, so it's there in a folder, and then you can move it wherever you want or whatever.
Yeah,
you want to.
and that one I actually use pretty extensively on the desktop. So that is the one way that I do use the Evernote family of apps. Sketch allows me to, they have a really great feature. You know how when people are in an image, so say you have a child in an image that cannot be shared, you can actually doctor that image to have that blurred effect, which isn't in Google Drawings. So that's been a really helpful one for me, where you can take image and change them. I use it often for my blog posts. I often use it to bring images into presentations, things like that. So there's lots of different ways that you can crop and create and annotate and strikeouts, arrows, how-tos. There's lots of great stuff there. And I've seen it used in classrooms too, where kids had to use Sketch to, I can't remember who did the lesson, but kids had to use Sketch in a geometry lesson, so they had to take photos of, I think it was a grade 3 class or something like that. They had to go find different types of polygons in a 3D environment, and then they had to show and annotate on the image with Sketch, which was kind of a cool way of doing it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
While we're talking about graphics, a website and app that works through Google and Google Drive, since I did that presentation last time, is Pixlr, Pixlr.com, and it's a lot of the basic functionality of Photoshop, but it's free and online, and so that's the one that I typically go to for editing photos. It's there online and free. Also syncs with Google Drive. So while we're mentioning it, but Sketch syncs with Evernote very quickly and easily, and again some different features.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
The other apps that go with Evernote, the one educational app sort of is called what? I believe. I'll otherwise come blank now. That's not very helpful during presentation. Basic idea being you can turn your notes into flashcards, and so if you've got the magnetic cover on an iPad, you can flip up the bottom. It'll give you the prompt, and then you can lift the screen and see the rest of it with it. So, if that's a study method that you or your students use, maybe interested, maybe not. And the other apps they use that they put out, one is for food blogging, one is for creating, meeting other people. So if you've got the app installed too, it syncs your contacts easily. And then the last one is for reading blogs, and it's called Clearly. It's an extension for Google as well that simplifies your screen and gets rid of ads and pictures and just makes the text in larger and easier to read. But less useful for the purposes of talking about tonight. But great family suite of apps. Evernote at the heart of it, and Penultimate and Sketch are the two that probably are most useful add-ons for teachers and students.
Cool. Well, thank you, Jeremy, for sharing everything on that with us tonight.
My pleasure.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see all these different app families and kind of how they relate to one another and the similarities and differences they offer in features and how they can be applied in education. Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them are very similar. Like we said at the beginning, I use both Google Drive and Evernote for different purposes. They have a lot of the same functionality or very similar, comparable functionality, but there's those little bits that you can't get with one that you can with the other, so you can use them both, and sometimes you just find you gravitate to one, and so it's worth exploring and seeing, hey, does this work for me? If not, well, you probably learn some new functionality. If it does, great, you've improved your workflow and improved your ability to be creative.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot again. For those of you who are tuning in after the fact, make sure you connect with us if you have any questions on Twitter. Our Twitter handles are listed below us here on our YouTube on our lower third, so like here-ish. And I'm pointing at it. That's my new trick. And you can get on us at Twitter at the hashtag ETMN as well, or on a Google Plus community. Be sure to drop us a line there. So upcoming interviews for the next couple weeks. We only really have a couple of shows left, really, before the school year's out. We're going to take a break. So on Monday, we actually have my own principal. His name is Sean Davids. He will be coming on. We're going to be talking about how to create a community of learners and sharing that and celebrating that learning on social media and through blogs, school blogs. So kind of looking at what we do in the classroom, but at a school level, and how we share and celebrate those stories. And then on that was June 16th at 8 p.m. Pacific time. And then the following week, we'll be interviewing Ian Landy. He's a principal up in School District 83, which is Prince George.
I believe so.
I forgot his name. School District 83 for sure. But yeah, he's going to be coming on and chatting a little bit about what he's doing up there. And I'm just getting a little bit of more information about what we're going to chat about that week. So those are our last two, and both of them are at 8 p.m. on the next two Mondays coming up here in June. So I hope you can join us then.
Please do.
All right. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in tonight.
Good night.